Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. And we're going to start the session right now. My name is Pamela Benitez. I'm the founder of the Virtual Events Experience, the first social enterprise in virtual events. And what that means that my company is driven by the purpose to give back. Every single event that I created is aligned with a charity, a foundation, or a social enterprise no profit. And my purpose is to reinvest more than half, 51%, in giving back to different social causes and supporting unemployed events managers to find a new source of income. This session was created for all of you, like I was, that when I lost my job, and to give you a feedback, what could be like a new font of income that you could see. And a lot of people after the first event advised that would love to change career to marketing because perhaps marketing was the closest department for events to collaborate. Therefore, we decided to bring on today a panelist session where they can discuss how easy it is to change from event to marketing. I'm going to pass over to our lovely host, that is Sue Crooks, and she actually did a transition from events to marketing a while ago successfully. She actually has two businesses, one in the design and marketing, and the other one, the biggest and largest networking for women in business. We do have potentially an issue, a technical issue with Dora today and with Lucia. Therefore, I just want to advise in case they are not able to join or if they drop by some reason, for you, unfortunately, that is the situation that we are facing right now. But I hope that you enjoyed. Get involved. There is questions, polls. Place your question if you have. Answer the polls once they are live. And I see you soon. I'm going to invite right now our lovely, lovely MC, that is Sue Crooks. She's going to be joining the stage in just a second.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so pleased to see you. Let's just make sure we're on video. There we go. Thanks, Pamela. That is brilliant. Thanks for inviting me to come and join your event tonight. I'm really pleased, and I really look forward to hearing from people in our chat box and asking us questions and using our polls. So I can't see that at the moment, Pamela, just so you know. I can't see those things on my tab, but hey, these things happen. So first of all, we've got Alistair here with us. We've got Lucía and Dora joining us, and they're going to introduce themselves shortly. My name's Sue Crooks, and I have actually transitioned from working in events in various different formats, and I actually have a marketing business that is 10 years old this year. So I am really, really pleased to see that some people want to do that transition. Not so pleased there's so many job losses in the hospitality industry, sadly. But, you know, we are here to try to help as many people as we can on the event today. So if I could just ask my partners in crime just to mute themselves, because I've got a lot of background noise, that would be great. That would be super. Thank you very much. That's brilliant. Thank you. So who am I to be here with Pamela's event, with the event this evening? Why has she invited me? Well, many years ago, I used to work for the largest hotel chain in hospitality and events, where I ran banqueting departments. I ran all sorts of events within different hotel chains. And what made me then move on to a different area of events is I used to run then a lot of medical events across Europe. I used to be in Germany a lot of the times with huge events that I would have to manage and put together. But I always wanted to go into design. Many years ago, when I was at school, many years ago, I wanted to go into design, but My careers teacher told me to go into hospitality and hotels and events, but it took me a long time, and I worked in that trade, in the hospitality and events trade for many years. But I always had that inkling, that urge to go and work in design and marketing. I went on many, many courses. I learned many things, and I brought my passion to my design and marketing business, my own design and marketing business 10 years ago. And it was quite hard. I was a single mum. It was only my salary that was coming in, but you've got to have confidence if you want to move around to different businesses or careers. You've got to have passion. I'm ultra passionate in what I do. So now I have a digital marketing and design business. And I know we're going to hear from Dora and Alistair in a short while, and we'll introduce those two to you shortly. But there are many ways you can work in marketing. You can work in different aspects, and that's why it's great if you specialize in something. But the thing I would say to you is make sure you get, number one, experience, and number two, while we're in the world we are at the moment, go on lots of courses and learn things in the area you want to work in. Go and use that time, because I've done it, even though I think I know everything about marketing. I actually did PR courses last year. I did other courses, and I put courses on for clients to learn social media properly for business. So use that time to invest in that time to go and learn things. So let me just come over to you. We're just waiting for someone else to join us. So first of all, let's ask where you're from this evening. Pop into the chat box where you are from in the world this evening. Let's see where people are from. As I said, I'm just so you know, Pamela, I can't see anything on my screen on the side, so you might have to jump in, Pamela, on that. Okay, so hopefully Pamela can see where you're all from, so that's brilliant. Now,
just a quick message. Lucia is suffering really hard to connect. Okay. And I will leave you guys to start the session and crack on the topics to discuss from events and marketing. And I will keep trying to Lucia to join us from the search side point of view. Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you, Pamela.
The polls are now published, so you'll be able to see. As we can see now, more than 10 jobs application people that attended. If they could choose between a job in events or marketing, apparently people are choosing events still. And how long they are unemployed, it's 1 day, 2 months are winning. And that is where we stand on the polls. I'm going to leave for you now to crack on the session, and I speak with you all later. See you soon.
Thank you. Pamela, if you hear me, though, need you at any point, you'll jump back on, won't you? So we've got the polls for you. Get involved with those. Engage with our polls. Also, we have questions. If you want to ask a question, Pamela will come back on and she'll share those questions for our other hosts tonight, Dora and Alistair, and hopefully Lucía as well. So we've got everyone, so hopefully we can see where we're all coming from. So I'm now going to pass you to Alistair to do an introduction and to share with us what Alistair is about. Now you can see behind him, he is careers advice, so that is brilliant. Alistair, would you like to share something about you and what you're here to share with us this evening? Brilliant.
Yes,
we can now.
Thanks, Sue. I'll just give you just a very, very quick resume of my sort of career history. So my first main career was I actually worked in the leisure and tourism industry, and I worked in and managed a number of leisure centres. And part of that role entailed setting up and organising a whole range of events in leisure centres. And I then moved into teaching leisure and tourism. And then I applied for a training provider up in London who said they specialised in leisure and tourism, but when I actually got inside the organisation, wasn't quite what was written on the tin. But what they did do was help unemployed people to actually get back into employment. So we used to go all over London, particularly in areas of regeneration, helping unemployed people to get back into work, helping with CVs, interview techniques. I then moved on to managing a whole range of government-funded projects and all the funding criteria that went with it, and ended up at the local college as a business development manager. And I got made redundant the second time in 2010. And the thing I decided I really wanted to take charge of my own career. And one thing I've always wanted to do was to become a careers advisor. So I took the opportunity, having been made redundant, to go off and train as a careers advisor at Canterbury Christchurch in 2010. So I qualified as a careers advisor in 2011, and I then stayed on and did an MA as well. And in 2012, I then set up Stirling Careers Consultancy. So I work predominantly with adults who unfortunately been made redundant and helping them back into employment. But I also work with people who want to change career, which is obviously what we're talking about tonight. So helping them and guiding them through the career path. What I would say to people is, despite what we read in the media, there are lots of jobs out there, and it is a question of being resilient and spreading your network and really widening your job search. But there are opportunities out there, despite what the media says, and lots of clients I'm working with are actually getting jobs. So the key message I want to say to you guys is, is hope. There are jobs out there. You've got to be resilient, and you've got to be persistent, and you've got to grow your network.
Brilliant. Shall we come back to you in a moment, Alistair, and we'll just get Dora just to introduce herself. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Dora, hi. Share with everyone what you do, and then we'll do a quick intro around the room. Now we've got Lucía here. So Dora, please share with everyone where you're from and what you do.
So sure, Sue. I hope you guys can hear me well.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'm Dora, and I have been in marketing for pretty much my entire professional life. So 10 years and over now. I've been kind of jumping into different industries from a marketing point of view. So I've been on both agency side as well as client side. So currently I'm on the client side, but I've been working with major global clients within a variety of industries, really. So automotive, fashion, financial services, lifestyle, health and beauty. And I most recently, it's been like probably over 3 years now, I landed into the fintech world, which is kind of like something that excites a lot of people. And it's actually definitely something that excites me. It's a very dynamic industry. So I work at a company called Volante Technologies, which is a B2B payments organization. It has global presence, and I've been, I am the regional marketing lead there, but I had different roles. So I had roles where I had to be working to build global media plans and implement them for major clients across the world. I also have creative experience, but within marketing, actually, events sometimes would fall under. So I would also be doing and participating in organization of events until a certain level. So I must say that the fact that I haven't specialized in any specific area of the marketing industry has given me a lot of good background and skills that I can still apply in anything I do from a marketing point of view. And that's something really, really great. And as Sue, as you were just saying about people to participate in webinars, training courses, this is actually something that, like, for you to be in events and even marketing, and I don't consider them as two different areas, because sometimes they do correlate, because the main purpose is to depending on the industry, but for me, for instance, if I'm going to drive leads and I have a lead generation plan I need to focus on, marketing would be definitely one thing, but events are something major that we need to consider. So one thing cannot go without the other. So I do think that marketing and events clearly have a very major role in driving business. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And,
Shall we come
this is
back to
me.
you in a mo then, Dora? Shall we come back to you in a mo? Because Lucia's on here. So let's just have Lucia on. Lucia, do you want to just introduce yourself to us? Just let us know a little background first before we get on even more.
Oh, there you go. Hello, sorry. My name is Lucía. Thank you very much for having me here. I am an events professional with over 5 years experience of global B2B, hands-on experience working in-house and freelance as well, and as a freelance for global large companies and startups, mainly in London, and delivering events and marketing for those events, especially in EMEA, but also I've been doing events for the US and for APAC region. I consider myself a people person, very high skill, and all those skills that you have to be a good project manager. So that's why I've been doing not only the strategy and the segmentation around and the marketing around the events, but also the project management around those events, and also the communication and the marketing plans for those events. And obviously very focused on getting goals, generally speaking, around lead generation, brand awareness, and considering that, getting that around other tools like social media, email marketing, etc. So yeah.
That's brilliant. Thank you for your welcomes, everybody. That is super. So I'm just having a look actually now. I've actually got the questions up, so I'm just asking where people are from. So Laura is in Venice, so that is brilliant. So thank you for joining. We'll get everyone else. Please pop in the chat box where you are from around the world. Even though we are global at the moment, we all have been through the same thing over the last 12 months, whatever country you are in at the moment. We're all at different stages. So I'm in the UK, and literally all events that what could do went online. I also have a networking business, and we put all our events online back in March very, very quickly, and we use Zoom, everybody's new best friend, Zoom. Gosh, I wish I had shares in Zoom. Because it would be an incredible business to have shares in, and it's great to see them develop and things. But I wouldn't have survived both of my businesses over the last 12 months without it. And it's really interesting to see the event companies, how they've changed in the last 12 months, to see how they have put themselves online successfully. I've seen many online events not be successful with very limited numbers, and this is where, as we've all said, where your marketing and your events coming together, because to run events you've got to have great marketing. You've got to be out there with great marketing, otherwise no one knows where you are and what you do. So the two do combine, and I think some of us here are proof of the pudding that we can combine the two. But it's about that plan, isn't it? You've got to be planning stuff well in advance, and you've got to be able to change it. You know, the new trendy words, pivot if things haven't changed in events. But a lot of people, you have to look at, you know, celebrities and music artists. They went online. They were doing events out there with thousands of people, and they went online. I love seeing people like that in their own homes, putting their own events on. It's great to see how people have changed. So we've got a couple of questions, and we'll move back on to Alistair then, if that's okay. But there's a couple of questions here that perhaps we could all participate in. So with a transition from events to marketing, would it mean a huge step down to a junior position? Alistair, do you want to come on to that as a career part of the business? Would we need to drop down?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I would say to people is to initially try to perhaps get a position maybe similar to the one that you're currently in at the moment, and try it. However, if you are finding that that you aren't getting interviews for going for maybe a similar sort of role in marketing that you're currently holding at the moment, I would definitely try that. But if you're not succeeding, I would then perhaps look to actually take perhaps a lower role for a space of time. But I'd also endorse some of the things that Sue has said, is looking at maybe perhaps doing a marketing course, but also I would look to see what voluntary work that you could do as well. So it could be in your local community. You know, I would do something that's marketing related, so that you can actually put that on your CV. So I would initially look to try and get something similar, but if you can't, then I would then look to do take a lower role for a shorter space of time, and then look to move up. But I'd also look at qualifications and doing some voluntary work, marketing related, in the direction that you want to go.
Thank you for that, Alistair. I think when you are, I've recruited many people over the years, and when they send their CV in, experience far outweighs in my past qualifications, even though and that would depend on the role. But someone with experience, like you say, even in a voluntary role, it would be great to see that on a CV. Dora, would you like to add any comments onto that question?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys in terms of the like training courses and so on. But don't forget that, like, from a marketing point of view, also I think that marketing is like general marketing hasn't suffered that much as specifically the events industry, because there are still roles. So I would also advise, and in my experience, if you want to definitely use your event skills, but perhaps go into a more marketing-oriented role, like a more holistic role, there are roles like that. So it's a matter of just searching and like networking, seeing what's out there, because there are roles that have both worlds. So you can still use your event specific skills, but then you can also learn more from the marketing overall skills, like marketing communication strategy, campaigns implementation, email, social media, etc., etc. So I don't think it's it sometimes, depending on the role, it can be like a step back, but it not necessarily. Sometimes it really much depends on the timing, being at the right place at the right time, and just finding those more holistic roles where you wouldn't feel that you're missing on things and you're stepping a few steps back, but you're actually using your existing skills and just doing even more. Like, so you're going to be learning even more from a marketing point of view, because there are some roles that are marketing roles, but they do require event skills, and that I've been seeing that a lot. So I don't think it's a lost cause, that fact that it's not like entirely an event role. And if you are more adventurous and you wish to explore, because marketing can be actually really fun combined with events, so I would definitely go and look at that like path, I could say.
Brilliant, Dora, thank you so much. Now, Lucía, you are actually unemployed at the moment. So what have you been doing to get out there more? I know you said a little bit in your intro, but share with us what you've been doing and what's been successful and maybe what hasn't. Like in marketing, and I was saying this earlier, in marketing, you need to know what's unsuccessful just as much as successful. So what have you been doing?
Yeah, well, basically, first of all, I have to say that I've been applying for a lot of roles since I lost my job in March. It's been, I think I lost the count, maybe 300 or something like that. the good thing about it is I have had an incredible response around it, because I've been having lots of interviews, especially the last month, even sometimes like 4 interviews in 1 week, which is incredibly positive. So that's amazing. And the roles that I've been applying for, they have been mostly, maybe like 20% events, because obviously there are not like a lot of events. I'm more focused on virtual and physical events sometimes, but also like 80%, they have been like marketing broad roles. And when I'm saying this is like in super general marketing department, where you are doing content, where you're doing social media, where you're doing events.
You're like an all-rounder, right?
Yeah, exactly. So in many of them, they wanted to see me, which is incredible. And many of them, they have been like startups. So I have to say that the market is going through that path around technology startups, because my experience has been like 90% within the technology industry. So that has been incredibly good for me. So in terms of that, to fill those gaps around my CV, I've been doing obviously training courses, for example, Google Academics, Google Storage, fundamentals of digital marketing, because now all the companies, they are asking for digital skills. As well, marketing automation tools such as HubSpot. A lot of companies are asking for that, or even like social media course. Actually, I'm doing one right now. So yeah, I think always you have to improve your skills, and you have to be really honest with the hiring managers. I mean, if you don't have the right experience for that, but you are willing to learn, and you tell them that you are learning every day, that you're going to courses, that you're talking to recruiters, that you're talking to people in the industry, they're going to want to see you, basically. And you have to reflect that basically in your CV and in your cover letter. Because as I said, normally the ones that I haven't had the enough experience, because I didn't tick all the boxes, I covered that in the cover letter, and then they wanted to see me, and I told them, like, listen, I am doing this, I am eager to learn, etc. And actually, they really enjoyed my interview, because I had like very positive feedback. However, they told me that the role it wasn't the best for me at that time, because they wanted someone more experienced. So I really think it's about to find the right company in this moment. Actually, I had a call today with a recruiter, and he told me, like, listen, in the past, after this pandemic, there were maybe like 200 people who applied for a role, and maybe 30% qualified for the role. And now 200 people applied, and there are 190 people that qualify for the role. So that's why it's very difficult to get an offer right now, a job offer. But obviously, you just need to be patient and keep going. So now it's going to be more difficult. That's it. And as an events manager and marketing manager, is what you have to do. Don't give up, basically.
Yeah, you can't give up. You can't give up. So, Lucía, what type of qualifications have you got? What courses have you been on? Share with us what type of courses you've been doing to add to your CV, or even before you were unemployed.
Yeah. Well, besides of my diploma in event marketing management and communications from the Chartered Institute of Marketing, I did that in London like 5 years ago. I did one in manage people and partnerships and sponsorships, actually, as well, with the Chartered Institute of Marketing. And well, during my employment, I was always learning, especially from my employers during my employment. But during this pandemic, I've been doing this fundamental of digital marketing course in Google Garage, as well Google Analytics, beginners and advanced, from Google Academic, HubSpot for the nurturing and segmentation of the leads, very important for lead generation, because in all the companies, they're going to ask you for email marketing automation skills. That is 100%. And HubSpot now, they're asking a lot. And now I'm doing one in social media, online as well. And I am learning as well about a software which is called Groundhog, which is like a startup as well. And it's incredibly user-friendly and very good to integrate WordPress with your content and with your marketing automation. So I really think that's good.
You've been busy. You've been very busy. That's good. I remember many years ago, I was on maternity leave, and I actually went on courses when I had my daughter. Even though I knew what to do, I just needed to keep active and keep knowing what the best things out there were, and actually get some other qualifications. Keeps you active, doesn't it? So let's just come on to Dora, and then we'll come back to Alistair in a second. Dora, do you require any specific qualifications from candidates when they apply for positions? What do you look for?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, like what Lucia was just saying, Lucia or Lucia is the best.
It's Lucia. It's actually Lucia. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So I definitely think that like diplomas like CIM, which is a major diploma, like as considered a very good qualification to have in the UK, as well as other ones that you're taking, which is actually great because it shows that you're committed to change. So you're not just sticking to events and sending CVs just for events and just sticking to your existing skills. You actually want to expand your skills, which for me is something that I do very appreciate in candidates, is the motivation and the attitude, because you're not asked when you go for a role to know the entire job or how your day is going to look like in like one typical day in the company. But you want people to be curious and ask the questions, which is something that I really appreciate, is people asking questions and feeling motivated to actually do the job and not just land on the job and, right? So definitely attitude for me is very important. Knowledge is very important to a certain level, because if there is not like the right attitude to evolve like in a team, to be a team player, and to do things, because people learn in a job, right? So every job is different. So it's like a learning process every time you land on a new job. That applies to any skill levels and job levels. Of course, if the role I'm hiring is more strategic, and I need someone that has to take major strategic decisions for the business from a marketing point of view, I would probably go for someone a bit more senior and someone who has some marketing knowledge. But it really much depends on the role. If I want someone that has to be operational, executional, someone who needs to be on the kind of like a hands-on person in the team, I would consider a mix of things, but I go a lot with the attitude and how people present themselves, and with like the certain types of questions I can assess how much people are committed to the actual role, which doesn't implicate directly that people have to have 100% a matchable CV with what I'm looking for, because sometimes that can happen. And I had situations where I hired people and everything was so perfect, and then at the end it wasn't perfect because the person didn't have the right attitude, and I wasn't curious enough to learn and to be proactive and to kind of like build up a high standard within the team for her performance. So yeah, there are a lot of topics that need to be considered, but definitely qualification is important, but not the most important thing for me, because I think that like Lucia has the right attitude to pursue different training courses for like a very key points of the marketing, like email marketing automation. Yes, definitely key. We use it a lot at Volante Technologies every day for campaigns, events, promotions, webinars, post campaigns. So it's our key driver. But also, as you said, social media, LinkedIn sponsor ads and everything. So it just brings more luggage, and you're actually presenting something that, okay, I haven't done it, but I'm learning it, and I really want to step into a job where I can show my skills, and I'm really committed. So this is commitment and curiosity, are things that are definitely very important for me. So I don't look at the CV 100% to match the keywords. I also look at other aspects like the ones I just mentioned.
Yeah, that's brilliant, Dora. Before we come back to Alistair, don't worry, Alistair, I've got a couple of questions for you too. But I would like to add here actually something. When people are going out looking for work, make sure your LinkedIn profile is up to date. Make sure it has the right words. You've got a decent profile image on there, not one with a floppy hat and sunglasses. This is where people will come and search for you. Dora, I bet you go and look on LinkedIn when you're recruiting. Go and check out people's profiles. Actually see if their experience is what they say. But look how professional they look on LinkedIn. That is a really key point, I think. Alistair, I have a question for you.
Yep.
So, do you believe events managers should change completely if there is a lack of jobs out there, or do you think they should stick with it? What's your thoughts on that, Alistair?
I think if people want to change career and that and they've done all the research and feel that it's right for them, then I say to people, then it's it's important that you follow your passion, and that in order to do that, I think it's really important that you do have a good job search plan. And I work with a lot of clients at the moment who just go on to Reed and Indeed and Monster Jobs, which is fine. It's the most competitive. I say to them, what you're doing is great, but it's extremely competitive. But I say to them, you really need to widen your job search. So, for example, as Sue's mentioned, it's really important that you have a good LinkedIn profile, that you've got a really good CV, and you'd be amazed the number of CVs I see, and I see some really good ones, and I see some fairly sort of horrendous ones. And I'll just a basic mistake that one guy sent me a CV, have a look at it, and I said, yeah, sure, I'll look at it. And his name, his email address, and his name didn't match up. His email address was a cartoon character, so I looked up this cartoon character. And this cartoon character was a lazy layabout out of work, which may sort of come across as a sort of yob. And that was the image that he was projecting. But in actual fact, he was a hard-working guy who was really ambitious to get on. But because he read sort of comic magazines, he thought he would mimic this character. So it's really important that you widen your search, you use LinkedIn, but also you write to the hidden jobs market. I really say to lots of people, is attack the hidden jobs market, write to small, medium-sized businesses, and there will be opportunities there, especially as we come out of the pandemic, and try those. But the big companies, it is very competitive. Yes, do it. But the key I say to people is widen your search and give it a period of time, and only you that can actually decide that. But all the time, weekly review your job search plan, and then come to it. But if that's your passion, that's what you want to do, I'm a great believer in even that you go for it and then review it later. And one thing that you perhaps can think about is then think about a plan B. If you want to do that, then go and do it.
And can I just add quickly? Sorry, Sue. Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to add quickly that the fact that, like, especially when you're like now, it's all around like fintech startups. There's a lot of companies hiring, and the trend tends to be normally for them to hire people that are all-rounders, so multitasking people. And it actually gives you, if you have not only the event skills, but you also evolve further into different level of skills in marketing, it can actually make you indispensable and a key person to go to, which actually gives you a very good position in the company in a mid-long term, which I think it's also something interesting to add to this whole events, transitioning from events to marketing. And so, that's just an additional view that I was thinking about. We can't hear you, Sue. Sorry. Oh,
Sorry, it takes me a second to unmute me. That's all I say all day at my events. Oh, mute yourself. Alistair, I've got another question in there. You've said about the email address for CVs. Is there any other tips you can give us to make our CVs stand out? Should we be keeping them short? How can you help us with some more advice on CVs?
So with CVs, first of all the basics, you need to make sure that there are no grammar mistakes, and also that you tailor your CV for the role that you're actually applying for. That is absolutely key. You can't have one CV and make it generic and use it for every job that you apply for. So each job that you apply for, your CV has got to be tailored to the role as well. And also it is thinking about some of the keywords that all the keywords is really important. And each job that you've had in the past, maybe try and put down different skills and tasks that you've actually had, and try to keep it to 2 pages. I've had 3 and sort of 5-page CVs, and no one's going to read particularly a 5-page CV or even a 3-page CV. It's got to be really eye-catching, and don't try and be too clever with, get some people who do use graphics and all, very clever layout. But you've got to remember that most employers are very conservative, and they'll look at your CV between 5 and 7 seconds. They'll look at it and I will just go straight down the page. So that first page has got to be really eye-catching, and also putting down your achievements as well, because people do want to know what you've achieved in the past, and get your friends and colleagues to have a look at it as well. Everybody, what you have to bear in mind, that everybody has a view on a CV. So you could ask 500 people and you'll get 500 views, but the one that's obviously the correct one is the one that's going to get you an interview. But if you just sort of follow some of those rules, it will help you.
Oh, that's brilliant. Now we've got a couple of questions that have come up now, but let's just ask ourselves, and we'll all have a response to this. So, what is the future of events at the moment? Gosh, that's a open-ended thing. There is, what is the future of events? I'm going to say something here before we pass to Alistair, Dora and Lucía, because my business pivoted very quickly, as I said, right at the beginning of this event. And we used to host lots of in-person events at beautiful venues, exclusive venues where we would have fantastic speakers. And obviously last year that just stopped. So we went straight onto Zoom. Now we could have paused our business, in my networking business for venues, and actually for the first month I was a little worried, but we put together and planned and put together Zoom events with structure. I think a lot of people have been to events where you're all shouting over each other. There's no structure, but actually we've been told our events are brilliant, and our business has grown from doing online events with Zoom in the networking world. So I'm going to put that out. Who would like to start here? How we think events are going to be in the future?
Well, I can start because I've been doing events all the time. So I really think there's going to be a mix from virtual and physical events. And I really hope we see an increase of the physical events going back to the industry, basically because at the end of the day, events, I mean, you have to see people, you have to interact, you have to network. However, I think the capacity, the number of people that are going to be invited to the events is going to be reduced significantly. And well, even for those speaking sessions, for those breakout sessions, there's going to be even less people, and it might be a really good idea just to break down even more so that the capacity of those events they are reduced, right? But yeah, I really think events are gonna go back, but yeah, with the with the security measures around that, and a mix. Always keeping in mind that there's still a pandemic and there's still like that virus around. But yeah, just incorporate those events little by little.
Really
That's my
interesting,
thinking.
because our events have actually been busier on Zoom than they have. Now, I run a marketing company and a networking company. Now, my events don't have 5,000 people coming to them. We have a couple of hundred max. So we've put our International Women's Day event online this year. Now, we normally have a few hundred people come, but we've sold out on our event a week on Monday for International Women's Day. But we've planned it. We've got a great event, and it's sold places. These are not free places. We've sold out. So today I had nearly 50 ladies in Southampton in the UK come to an event. I would never have had that many people on a launch event. Now, they're very small numbers for the likes of Dora and you, Lucia, but, you know, for the large events. But our events have actually grown on Zoom because there's no traveling, no car parking. We can fit in more business meetings now. We can do more things. So we are sticking with Zoom events going forward, even after June. We're going to do a mixture, but we're going to be only doing quarterly in-person events.
Yeah.
Now, our venues may not be happy with that, but for us as a business, we're going to be sticking with that. So have you got any more feedback? Dora, come on, what's your thoughts on online events or face-to-face, or do we have a mixture?
Well, yeah, I think that digital definitely, as and when there is a justification, as and when there is no like require, I think that companies will become a bit more do more of a mix between physical events and digital events, because sometimes it depends really on the nature of the event. So in the long run, once we are allowed to get together, I think that definitely it will be very like a staged going back to physical events. It's going to be a very staged process. Like people will be very cautious to put a lot of people in the same venue. But that will happen probably with more like lead generation, sales-oriented events, because salespeople, they want the interaction and they really need the interaction. So major conferences happening throughout the year will probably come back to normal, but that's going to be something that will be very phased. On the same time, events that are not that much of like where there is like where you can actually benefit and achieve your objectives if you do it digitally. I think that definitely those will still be there, and I think there will be a more like probably a bit of a more balanced split between digital and physical, because with the digital events you can also save a lot of money and still get the message out there. But for certain types of events, like more selly events and the like must-have events, and where your brand logo and your people have to be there to sell, those events will definitely be back and people would want to attend them.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, isn't it, to see the attendance rates going forward. I think it's going to be a couple of years before people get confident in going to those larger events, isn't it?
And for example, we are in the Middle East. We are covering we're doing a physical event between end of March and beginning of April. But in that territory, people don't seem to even acknowledge COVID. So we are doing a physical event, and everyone wants to attend. Yeah. So if you want physical events, look at the Middle East. It's an interesting case study how it's not affecting them.
It's interesting, isn't it, looking at different countries and how they're doing this for business events. Hey, we've got a couple of questions in, so let me read these out for you. From Laura. I also see a request for 3 to 4 years in the tech sector or banking or EU topics. Running events in-house for the industry or HR sectors did not really allow me to gain a specialised understanding of those sectors. Now, has anyone got any comments they want to make on that question? I can't help on that one, but I don't.
Can you, Sue? Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Of course I can.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Right. This is from Laura. I have got another question as well. So I also see a request for 3 to 4 years in the tech sector or banking or EU topics, running events in-house for the industry or HR sectors did not really allow me to gain a specialized understanding of those sectors. So
I think, yeah.
Go on, Alistair.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think part of it, perhaps, one of the challenges going forward is if you work I assume if you're working in an office or in HR, you've got lots of people around you who you can actually get experience from, and you can ask for their advice. But I think one of the challenges with people onboarding in new organizations, it's really quite hard and quite challenging to actually get to know how that organization works. Yes, you can have meetings on Teams and Zoom and WhatsApp people, but it is really quite challenging. And speaking to a number of people who are in that, who've just started, it is really quite difficult to onboard people in this current climate. And I think it is an area that perhaps organizations could do with looking at, but it is quite a challenge, and it will take longer for people to onboard into organizations, because it's very difficult to pick up a culture of an organization through Zoom or Teams. But I think that is an area where there's going to have to be developed to make sure that you can try and integrate staff as quickly as possible and make them become even more effective, really.
Thank you. Let's just, we've not got many minutes left, but let me go on to Erica's question. I think we've covered some of this, but let's ask it to the panel. Which qualifications do you think are important for being considered for a marketing role? I did many trainings online and the Institute of Data and Marketing, LinkedIn marketing courses, Google, to mention some. Do you think a master's degree would be advisable, or a certificate at a university?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been doing a lot of market research around job hunting, obviously, because I am applying all the time. And I have to say that not many companies are asking for a master's degree, to be honest, because I considered this myself during summer. And then I decided not to do it because maybe 1% of the roles that I apply for, they specifically ask for master degree, but I don't think it's super.
Hey, Dora, have you got anything to say? Because I know we've touched on this a little bit, and Alistair.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. So some people, it really much depends on the employer. So who you're interviewing. Some people are a bit specific about what they're looking for. Some companies still look for very specific, like CIM diploma or a master degree in marketing. However, some of those companies, I think normally it happens with more junior roles. So if it's like a role that seeks someone that has like 1 or 2 years of professional experience, because your experience is not very significant still, they will look into your qualifications, a mix of qualifications and experience. But if you're more senior, then I don't think that necessarily a role has like a job specs, have like a line of the job specs is, oh, you need to have a master's degree, because you already proved yourself. So you, in terms of the experience and the skills, you've been in the market for like, let's say 4 to 5+ years. So you definitely have experience. So I think that the heaviness of the degree there is lighter as opposed to some like more junior roles.
That's a really good point, actually. I'm in my 50s and I would not put any of my qualifications on my CV now. So, yeah, it would not that I hope to goodness I don't have to apply for a job. But yeah, I wouldn't at this stage because I have many years of experience. We have one more question. I think it's 5-2. Let's just ask this question to the panel. We have one more question. So, how would you approach the digital transformation on marketing and events for small cap or startup companies? Let's you start. I think Lubert is asking approaching companies, but I think actually, Alistair, you maybe have touched on this. It is about approaching them directly, isn't it, rather than trying to go through an agency?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a great believer. What you need to do is to research organisations that you actually want to work for. So do the research and look at the company website. You can also go onto Companies House. You go onto LinkedIn and do your research. And then, particularly on LinkedIn, what you want to do is find a named person that, so it could be the director of marketing or the marketing manager, and actually write, do a good cover letter and send a CV and write to them direct. And what I would then do is I'd just put on the bottom, I will contact you in a week's time, and I would make sure that you do. I would actually even state the actual day, obviously not the time, but I'd state you're going to call them on Tuesday the 5th of March or whenever, and make sure that you do. And by doing that, you will get, you either get them, they'll say yes, or they say no, or they put you on hold. But in a way, what you're doing that is you're getting some sort of commitment very early on. And I'm a great believer in doing that. But you've got to research the organisation. You've got to get a named person and write to them.
Absolutely.
And I would do that.
LinkedIn is absolutely fantastic. Everybody for getting that information. Boolean search on LinkedIn. Go and Google it, and you can go and find marketing managers, marketing directors in a particular area. Go and search it, everybody here in the panel, and go and find out who those recruiters are, who those bosses are, because then it's much easier to send. Even, Alistair, we've got literally a minute left. I have an email box that just is so noisy. I would miss people applying for jobs. Would you say send an email or send a nice covering letter printed and send it in the post? That's the last thing to ask you.
I mean, I probably, because of the pandemic, it's really difficult to know where people are at the moment. So I would, if we weren't in the pandemic, then I would send a letter. But because we're in the pandemic and people are working all over the place, I would send it by email and then follow up that way.
Brilliant, thank you. And of course, on LinkedIn, if you do connect to them, you've got their email addresses, normally their personal ones as well. So Pamela, we need you back now. Thank you for those questions, everybody. And thank you for, we've had people from Italy, London, we've had people from lots of different places. So thank you for that. And also our polls are there as well. Let's just have a look. We've got a few people mainly people who actually want to stay with events. Events will be back, as we've said, but maybe a different format. Over to you, Pamela. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say a big thank you for all the panelists. I think people got really engaged. They didn't leave, so that is good.
That's good.
Those that came along, they got engaged. The question was coming, so that is really, really interesting. I just want to say, yes, a lot of people want to stay in the events, and looks like it's a mix about more than 10 jobs and lost account in application, and it's a mix as well. More than half is almost a year looking for a job as well, and the reason is kind of a mix of why they want to change from the market, but it's majority is a mix of different options. They want to change to marketing before the pandemic and the lack of jobs as well. So it's really, really good to see that. And I think all of you touch points, really good points. I really appreciate you guys all to come. And I want to say each single of you were chosen because I knew that you could give some information that is really needed. And anyone that wants to join the newsletter, just go to our website. I just drop on the chat box, and this will be sent the replay to you after the session, and you also can see in our YouTube channel. And please, 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 if you have any topic that you want to discuss it, because this session is for unemployed events manager, dedicated to them, send a message to us in hello@thevirtualeventsexperience.co.uk. And without any more, I just want to say a big thank you, Sue, for hosting.
Thank you for asking me, Pamela. It's been lovely, and thank you for having such great panel.
And Dora as well, giving your marketeer expertise, like changing career as well.
Happy to help. Happy to help.
And Alistair, you were amazing as a career advisor. Anyone that wants to actually have a better perspective from a career advisor, please connect on LinkedIn with Alistair. He supports that. He might be able to give you insights. He might be able to help you better than perhaps that, any extra help might be helpful as well. Thank you, Alistair, as well. And Lucia, I wish all the best of luck on your journey.
Thank you.
I love to keep seeing you, like, not giving up, putting yourself out there in terms of improve your skills, because that is very important. And I think people will appreciate the right company will come to you either for events or events and marketing, or marketing, because you are open yourself to different approaches in life, and you can actually make the difference in any other company. So anyone as well,
thank you.
If you see a role, tag Lucia, tag her, and spread the word as well.
Lucia, come and work for LoveBiz Networking and launch in Madrid.
Oh, yes, that could be amazing, actually. Count on me.
You see, you never know who is the right person, the right audience, and don't be ashamed to ask around. I would say, like 100% ask around, 100% say hello to your friends. Do you know anything? And put yourself out there on LinkedIn, on social media. Is very essential. I actually even saw people doing TikTok for getting a job, from events.
Wow.
And
very progressive. Have to try.
Very progressive. You don't know, Clubhouse as well is there as well. It's a new other hub, but ask around. And those that want to send the CV for myself, currently I'm not recruiting, I must say, but what I do is when I see some opportunities, I spread around to my contacts, and I also try to support as much as possible. Some events that I sell, I give back a course to an unemployed event manager in virtual events to upgrade the skills. So what I do is a pre-qualification. If you are unemployed, you send your CV, and I sell for another corporate company an alcoholic event, like cocktail, wine tasting, and all that.
Next time, count us in. Okay.
Yeah. When I sell that, means that I convert immediately one course from the media house. So that is a way to support everybody from my industry as well. And I want to say thank you. Leave you to enjoy your evening. Thank you so much, panel. One more time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Thanks.
Bye.